When it comes to my particular hobby, mostly building life-size anime figurines, I have a small subset of people that say I do unsavory things to them when I'm done building them. Now, there's a few problems with that particular notion. One, these figurines are made out of paper. Do you not know what happens to paper if it gets wet? And also, I spend months on these figures, so why would I want to do unsavory things just to destroy my hard work? Also, if you're someone that actually watches my videos and watches my build logs, you know exactly what's going on when it comes to me building these figures. But this is mostly for those ignorant people that say I do unsavory things. Mostly, I just want to take the wind out of their sails. So with that said, let's start off with Rim here and go on from there. Alright, so like I said, let's start off with Rim. So when I remove her upper body, you can clearly see there's a big ass wooden dowel right here that would be in the way. So if I was to do unsavory things, how could I do it with this big ass pole in the way? Explain it, please. So let's take a look at how the lower section of Rim's body is put together. This is the superstructure for the lower section of Rim. As you clearly can tell, everything would get in the way if I was to do unsavory things, which clearly this figure here doesn't allow. And again, this figure is made out of fucking paper. Would you look at that? It's fucking paper. It'll get completely and utterly destroyed if I did anything unsavory to it. And of course here you can kind of see how I have the skirt set up to where it latches onto these little latches right here. And I have the little latches right there that correspond. Again, I can spend literal months on these figurines. And the last thing I want to do is destroy them. So let's bring up the next batch of figures. And to do that, I need to get into my closet. So let me paint out the first one. My ARP Congo. This is about 3 months worth of work right here. About a month or two just on the body, and then like another 3 months on the actual thing she sits on when I take her to my anime conventions. And as you can tell, she has a pretty seductive pose. So let's pop her apart. Again, a big ass pole in the way. And again, a bunch of wood, and again, an internal wooden superstructure to hold her together. This would also get in the way. So, clearly it can't be done with this figure. Alright, and to do that, I need to go to my closet. My first figure is ARP Congo. As you can tell, she has a pretty sexual pose, to say the least. And I'm very proud of this figure. And if you're wondering, the body right here took about, I want to say like a month or so. And the actual thing she sits on when I take her to my anime conventions, it's going on about probably like 6 months now. So she's still an ongoing build. But for the most part, the whole body herself is complete. It's just the stand that she sits on is constantly being upgraded, repaired, and whatnot. So, again, a big ass pole that gets in the way. And again, a big wooden superstructure that would also get in the way. Interesting. It's like I build these things to actually be a statue instead of a fucking sex toy. Interesting. Then again, that's to be expected when you're ignorant and stupid. And yes, I know my eyes aren't looking at the camera. I'm actually looking at the screen, which is just like right about here. Now let's bring out another figure. This one being Shirley from Across Frontier. When it comes to figures I've built over the past, this one I'm very happy with. Especially considering the very unique pose that she has. A lot of work went into her to make sure that this area here does not collapse under her own weight. Again, you ignorant people wouldn't have a single idea of how much engineering had to go into building her so she doesn't collapse under her own weight. And to give you a general idea of how heavy she is, she's about 7 to 8 pounds, which may not seem like much, but when this is held together by nothing more than hot glue and wooden dowels that are probably no more than like this thick, it's a miracle that she has yet to collapse on her own weight, over her own weight yet. Now, of course, the pull on her is definitely not as big, but I got this little tab right here that stopped her from turning left to right when I actually move her around whenever I move her around and whatnot. So let me see how I'm going to do this. Put this down here. Hopefully that doesn't crush her. And of course, then I got this little key system here that holds the back of her little floof down. There we go with that. And here is a little bit of the superstructure that you can see, but as you can tell, and then we get a flashlight. And this flashlight really doesn't work neither, but this paper right here actually adds a structure for her. I only managed to cut this much off because if I cut any more, I could risk damaging her superstructure, and the last thing I want is for her to break. There's a lot of effort that went into Shirley here to make sure she does not collapse. I wish I had a picture of this before I closed it up, because then you'll be able to actually see how much wood is in here that's actually making sure that this area does not collapse. So when it comes to a superstructure for my figurines, this one has the most intensive superstructure to date. And as you clearly can tell, those unsavory things that the ignorant people say I do to these figures absolutely cannot be done with Shirley. I'll end it here. As you can tell, it's basically impossible. It's also impossible with these two here, but the reason why I didn't bring them out is because, well, they're in a position in my closet to where if I move them, it can screw up the whole organization I have for all my figures. So I'm just leaving them alone. And to give you a general idea, Minmay here took about a month to build. Freya here took around 2 months, and half of those months was building this freaking skirt here. This skirt was such a massive pain in the ass to build. But again, why would I want to destroy my hard work? Please explain. Oh wait, you can't because you're ignorant and an asshole. This is the reason why I did this video. These particular type of very ignorant people.